What's going on, awesome people? Happy Saturday. Happy December 4th to all of you. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're doing well and that you're happy and I don't know, that you're just enjoying life. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Iman and you are watching a series called the Awesome People Instagram Live series. And it's been a great few days so far. This is day number 4 of 31 days that I have publicly pledged to do. So basically 31 interviews in 31 days of December with the most awesome Persian entrepreneurs, artists, and creators that I know. It's been fun so far, and I hope that today is no different. My guest is a hip hop artist from the Connecticut area that's actually moving to LA to hopefully grow his musical career. So we're excited to have Shaheen Samadi here. I'll be bringing him in very soon. But what I did yesterday actually, and by the way, whenever you guys come in here, please feel free to say where you're from, where you're joining from. Thank you so much for being here and spending a part of your Saturday with me. I greatly appreciate it. And speaking of appreciation, yesterday I started something. I was like, you know what? Every time I do these lives or my Awesome People podcast in general, I want to take like 10 seconds and just do a little gratitude time. Gratitude that I go through and gratitude for you. So if you want to take a moment and just remind yourself of some of the things that you're grateful for, let's dedicate 10 seconds to do that. Oh man, I'm feeling better already. See, it's amazing when you take a few seconds and just kind of appreciate the precious things in your life. Gratitude is an incredible way to be happier and combat through the craziness of life. So, like I said, this is day number 4 of 31 days, and I'm very happy to have Shayan here. And I believe that he's already here, so I'm gonna go jump right into him. You get to know a very cool young talent that he raps and performs about a lot of interesting stuff. So get to know Shaheen a little bit better. Hi Suri, hi Fred.
Hey,
آقای شاهین درود بر شما.
thank you for having me on, man. I'm so excited to do this.
Yeah, man. Always great to see you. This is our second or is it
Like,
third time or second time we're having this little chit chat?
I think the first time was the Nowruz one.
The first time was no. It's just I see you so much on social media. I feel like I already know you, so I lost track. But good to see you, man. I hope that you and the family are all well and healthy.
Thank you, man. How you doing, man? How's your family?
Pretty good, man. It's been an interesting last few months, but still a lot to be grateful for. So a lot of
Here, like last time I saw you, you did the whole buzz cut.
yeah, I had to save some money before, and now I was like, you know what? I can now afford to get some products, and
There
put
you
some
go.
gel in it. Yeah, you
Persian.
got to switch it up.
Yes, yes.
I figure as long as I have hair to grow, I should grow it, and so then I'll worry about cutting it short when it's no longer there. Oh wow, you make it look good. So Shaheen, let's jump right in, man. For those individuals who have never heard of Shaheen Samadi, can you give a little introduction from your own perspective and tell people who you are and what you do?
Sure, man. Yeah, my name is Shaheen. I'm a 27, almost 28-year-old Iranian American hip hop artist. I've been rapping since I was around 15, 16 years old. And initially, I wasn't really good at all. But over time, because I love the art form so much, it was really, 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 really important for me to master this craft, regardless of what people said about me and all that stuff. Like, I was the wimpy kid in high school and stuff, right? Like, no one ever expected me to be the rapper. So, but 12 years later, I'm good at what I do. I like to think so. And something that I'm really passionate about is like being Iranian, my Iranian culture, anything to do with Iran. Because if you think about it, hip hop is a very social and political art form, and being Iranian was a huge part of my life. And I feel like I was always inspired by the way Black people used hip hop and rap to really represent their own community. So I thought, like, what if I do the same thing with like Iran? And it wouldn't be like fake, because like this is like an authentic, huge part of my life. You know what I mean? It's like I've spent a majority of my life either at my house or other Persian kids going to Mehmoonies, listening to my parents listen to Gugush and Eddie and Vegan and all these people. Like, even though I didn't consciously go out of my way to listen to these artists, like they were still like they were with me in my life in a way. So I really like to use um, being Iranian and like incorporate that into my music and represent Iranians in a way that hasn't been done before, because we have no one. You know, I mean, like now, I mean, now there's a rise, right? And it is so cool to see. Like I'm seeing people like Danny Asadi, After Hill, like all these very talented Iranian diaspora people who are doing it, and I think like now is the time to do it.
So what do you think was the catalyst? Like at what point were you like, you know what, like I want to rap as like that's my life, that's my career. This is what I want to do when I wake up and go to sleep.
Yeah, I would say like I made that decision in college. So I started in high school. Like I was like, yo, I just want to like write rhymes to be cool, right? But I was always obsessed with like the art form of rap. Like I think like bending words and making words rhyme that don't actually rhyme, but making it sound like they rhyme has always been fascinating to me. But I think like um, when I was like halfway through college, I think I had that choice. It's like I either study for the LSATs, go to law school, and just do away with rap and be resentful for the rest of my life, or seriously like make this my thing. And this was when I was around 20 years old, so around 7 8 years ago. Like that's when I had to make that decision. I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna finish my regular bachelor's degree, but I'm gonna make rap my thing. I'm not gonna go get my master's. I'm not gonna go to law school. And yeah, but I think it was around 2016 when I went to Iran, and I'm like, yo, this like I have to do this. Like I have to be like I really felt obligated to represent Iran after that trip to Takht Jamshid and Tehran and all these different places. I'm like, yo, we are the most underrepresented culture in the world. Like let's do something about it.
Do you think that you would be so all about representing Iran if you were living inside of Iran, or is this like a way for you to connect to the homeland and you're like, you know what, I'm not living there, so I'm going to represent it from the outside as best as possible? Have you kind of thought about that?
Yeah, I always wonder, like, yo, if I lived in Iran, like, would I be the same artist? Because a lot of Iranians, and it's tough, right? Because if you're in Iran and you're a rapper who speaks on political issues, you could go to jail, you
Yeah.
could die. And there was this one dude, I forgot his name, like a month ago, he got arrested because he was speaking on some really heavy political stuff. Thankfully, they released him, but it's scary, and I don't know if I would do it there. You know, I might rap, but it wouldn't be to the same degree that I'd be doing it here. I'm actually doing a song that's going to be released early next year with a Farsi rapper who lives in Shiraz, and he's gotten in trouble a few times because he's got balls. You know, he's got a lot of courage for just speaking his mind. And what's scary is that like his stuff isn't even that political, and they're still giving him a hard time.
I mean,
So
you definitely in some of, I apologize for cutting out, but definitely in some of your videos, you know, you're giving people a history lesson too, you know, at least from the news that you follow, you kind of put it out there, like the one that you did for Iran and Afghanistan, you know, like you're putting yourself out there for sure. Like, do you ever have any concerns about how open that you are about pretty much the political aspect of things?
I think about it, yeah, and I know that as my platform grows, it could potentially be more of a concern. Like, yeah, I already get like hate messages from regime supporters on TikTok like every day. They're like making duet videos. And what's sad is that a lot of these people don't even live in Iran. Like the ones who support the regime, who have all the luxuries of living in the West and partying and drinking and having sex. But yeah, when I criticize like their government, they get all defensive. Like it's weird, right? But it
And
is
and
something.
and how do you respond to them?
Sometimes I don't. You like they don't deserve a response. Sometimes it's through mockery, because sometimes that's all they deserve. It's like mockery. Like you're like and you know you have to like point out their hypocrisy. Like yo, I mean, and honestly, like a lot of these people are like 15-year-old boys who live in London, who aren't really like the most socially like tuned in people. Like you can tell they're a little strange. They probably don't get girls in school, so they're looking for a community on the internet to connect with, and like this is what they find. You know, it's really it is what it is. But I think I don't know, I think we have to be aggressive towards them, you know,
Right.
because there's millions of people, our people, 80 million people who are suffering. Like how we who if me and you who have the privileges of living in the West, like we have the ability to speak out without really worrying for our lives, right?
Right.
But they don't have that privilege, you know.
And there's definitely one group of individuals that you really highlighted in your last music video, Atoosa, which was dedicated to Iranian women. For again, for those who haven't seen the video, which I highly recommend that you watch it, make sure you follow Shaheen on YouTube, and that video is there. Can you tell people what Atoosa was, and like kind of like what was the catalyst of you deciding to make a music video dedicated to Iranian women, and kind of just tell people the gist of what the song is about?
Course, yeah. So the thing is, like, what I think of Iranian women is like, I obviously me as an Iranian man, I love Iranian women. I think they're the most beautiful women in the world. I love this little charm they have. It's different. It's unique. It's maybe I'm biased because I'm a Persian man, right? But what breaks my heart is like I notice like Iranian women, like we, like whether they live in Iran or whether they're out in the West, like they don't love themselves. Like they hate themselves. And you can just tell by the amount of surgery they want to do on their face, all the money they spend wearing these luxury clothes trying to impress people who aren't even Iranian. And I try to like I have these conversations with myself every day. Like, why is this so? Maybe it's because Iranian men have failed them, right? Like maybe it's because like in Iran, you know, like they're because they're forced to cover up. Maybe they're trying to find ways to make up for it by like fixing, fixing, right? There's nothing wrong with having a big nose, but fixing their nose or
Mm.
inflating their lips. And then when they come to America, the Iranian girls who are in America, like they tend to be very materialistic. They whitewash themselves. They have like this attitude towards them that, you know what I mean? And at first I used to be more aggressive towards this, but I really just wanted to make a video about like, you know what? Like, yo, there's nothing wrong with you. Like you don't like you are beautiful without that nose job. You're beautiful even if your eyebrows are a little thicker, right? Like there's nothing really wrong with you. But like for some reason, like when you go to LA and you see these Dokhtar Irunis with this like plastic look to them, like it's heartbreaking. I'm like, yo, what are you doing to your like yo, do white girls do this? Like do white girls like go like do they go and decide to like have an Iranian nose? You know what I mean? Like, why is it always like color? Like black girls or Iranian girls who decide to um look white, and that always bothered me. I'm like, yo, like like we're a society of kings and queens. Like they should want to look like us, not the other way around, right?
So what was the response? Like like what did girls tell you? What did guys like? What did you get overall feedback from that music video?
I mean, it was 99% positive stuff. I mean, they really liked it. I mean, they loved how like I mean, these were their words. You know, they thought it was very compassionate. They loved how it was also balanced, right? Because on one hand, I do have a problem with women, or not with women, but with men trying to tell women to wear the hijab. Like I have a huge issue with that. But on the other hand, it's not really our place to tell women to take off the hijab. I think it's really their
Mm.
choice on how
Mhm.
they choose to go about that. So that's why in that video, like you see, like like we're forcing the hijab on her, but then the second half we rip it off, and we're trying to say like they're both of it is kind of problematic.
Mhm.
Um, and even no
Yeah,
matter what,
I remember. Sorry to cut you, but I remember that there was like a little bit of controversy. Like you had to clarify a certain aspect, like one part of the lyric, correct?
yeah, because I think like when you post these videos on social media, sometimes I don't post the entire thing. Like if I want to promote it, sometimes I might just promote the second half. So
Mm.
you see them like ripping the hijab off, and then a lot of people who are pro hijab are like, "Yo, like what? Like that's offensive. Like you shouldn't be able to do that." Like I'm like, "Oh no," but like what I'm trying to say is like ripping off the hijab is not good. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
we're actually like if you really pay attention, like we're on your side. But people like to jump to conclusions because they want social media clout, you know. But
Right.
but people really loved it. I mean, I got people who I never even thought would support me, like Persian famous people who like saw the video and they shared it, and I was touched. I was like, yo, holy shit, like that's that person, like that's so cool that they decided to share that. It was
I
very
mean,
humbling.
like lyrically, it was definitely refreshing to see like the rap version of it come out and addressing this type of topic. But then also on top of that, you chose a great group of people to make this video what it became. I mean, we actually had Shayan, our mutual friend, who directed it, who did an incredible job.
Yeah,
The two ladies, the main actress, and then also the other female vocalists. Feel free to
Yeah.
give their names. I didn't make a note of the names, but give them a
Yeah.
shout out for sure.
Of course, yeah, yeah. You're talking about Arla Fendi and Ava. So
Hmm.
Ava's the actress who's very talented. I was actually like,
Yeah.
I knew she was talented when we picked her, but after the performance, I was like, I didn't think she was that. I was like, damn, like I was like, I didn't think I'd get that type of performance. I was so happy, and there was like this one scene towards the end. I'm sure you've seen it where the idea is like me and like you see the hands right, and we start to caress the face, and you see the tear go down her face,
Yeah.
and I did not see that coming. I actually genuinely thought I made her cry, and I was like, I'm like, yo, like you told me to
Yeah.
caress your face. I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, oh yeah, yeah. We're just acting. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like, but like that just shows like how talented she is because she made it like super believable.
Right.
And Shayan's a killer. Like he, when it comes to his cinematography, like he knows. Like we filmed it in a little tiny a corner of an apartment. But if you look at the video, it looks like this cinematic place full of Persian rugs everywhere. But really, it was just filmed in some apartment with the rug hanging, and like he knows what he's doing. He's very passionate. I think I really like Shayan. He's a very compassionate dude, and I like you too. But I think we all have the same mission. Like we want to uplift the Iranian community, and I think
Right.
we understand the struggles of that sometimes because you could argue that Iranians are a very divided community. I mean, like some say we backstab each other all the time, and there's so many different things. But that's why I love coming on here. I love
Thanks, man.
explaining these kinds of things because I want to bring we want to bring people together in different means.
Yeah. I to be honest with you, like I used to hear that a lot that Persians they don't support each other and whatever, but I actually think it's because we really never had this like community or platform. Like I said, that's why I'm trying to do what we're doing at Unite and Conquer because I'm like I I still don't know of any other community that I kind of go into and like really feel like okay, these people are like me, like we're one foot in Iran, one heart in Iran, I guess, and then the other in the Western world. So but the more that I'm having these conversations, I'm like, damn, there's actually a lot of us out there. We just didn't have a chance to connect anywhere. You're doing it through music. Shine is doing it through the camera. I'm doing it through like interviews. But that's the beauty. It's like you find a lot of people. I promise you, the people that are in this chat right now, many of them are doing it in their own way too. Some doctors, some lawyers, some whatever. And so we just have to get this community together. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is sometimes like it's tough because I think it's a matter of like a lot of Iranis might feel scared to do it. They're like, well, because unfortunately, I think there's a lot of like post generational stress or trauma that like has been passed down, and like our parents when they fled the revolution, like they were on survival mode. So like what
Mm-hmm.
they were trying to teach their kids was like you want to conform, right? Like,
Yeah.
but like fuck this Iruni Bazi. Like just hang out with the cool kids. Instead of Shaheen, call yourself Sean. Like you know what I mean? And like I feel like a lot of us might not be comfortable with like being part of that Iranian community until there's more social proof behind it. And I think like that's why like even like I struggle as a rapper sometimes. I think it's because like people like they love my music, but sometimes they even message me and say, oh dude, I want to share this but I'm too scared to. And I think like that's the challenge now, right? It's like how do we get people to like fully embrace this community and wanting to be part of it without them feeling like they're risking something?
And like, are you basically going like double down on this type of genre, or do you see yourself expanding and rapping about other things, or do you think that the bulk of who you are as an artist is going to be to uplift Persians, to just kind of like address these stereotypes that Middle Easterners have? Like, do you see yourself kind of going beyond this, or you just want to continue to cultivate this craft in this genre?
Ah, I think eventually there will be a point. Like, here's the thing: being Iranian will always be the biggest part of my brand. That's always my selling point. That's like I want, like even outside of the Persian community, I want people to see me as, oh, he's that Persian guy who
Hmm.
brings that Persian perspective. That will always be there. But I think as I grow my audience, the question now becomes, how do I take this message and make it appealing to people who aren't Persian, right? Because like me, like even though I'm Iranian, I was still fascinated by like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Mos Def, Nas, Tupac, listening to this black nationalist approach to their music. And like, yo, now how do I apply that with Persians? Like, how do I get like Joe to listen to like Shaheen Samadi and have Joe wish that he was Persian? You know what I mean? Like, so that's like my challenge. And I think someone who does a really good job at that, and maybe this is because he's more of an instrumentalist, is Danny Asadi, because you can show his
Yeah.
music to anyone and they'll be like, yo, this is dope, right? But me as like a lyricist, I try to like think of like, okay, what can I say to make like non-Iranians interested in this? Is
Mm.
something I really want to crack the code on. Because
Yeah.
realistically, Iman, like if it was up to me, I would just love to stick with the Iranian community and make a living like doing it that way. Because like I'm not super hungry for fame and all that stuff and clout. But at the same time, I realize like with music, it is pretty tough to monetize off like a niche community like this.
Hmm.
Um, so I think eventually, like, yeah, I do need to expand my audience, but I will always have like that Persian element that's in my craft.
So your target audience isn't even necessarily like other Iranians or Iranian Americans. You want to represent us to the rest of the world, and so you want the Jason and the Johns to be able to just enjoy your music and be like, "Oh shit, that's kind of cool. Like I didn't know that about Iran." Like that's pretty much the ultimate goal, right?
Yes, I mean right now my demographic is Persians. Like I specifically make content with them in mind. I don't really reach out to non-Persians, but I'm moving to Los Angeles next month,
Yeah.
and I feel like eventually, like, yeah, I want to collaborate with non-Iranian artists, and I want people to like introduce the Iranianness to the world, kind of like, yo, this is who we are, this is who we're about. And listen, I'm not the only one. Like, there are other Iranian diaspora artists who are super talented that like people don't know about that I've been networking with, and I'm really excited to work with them and bring them out into the spotlight. Like Arla, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like she's brilliant. She's really good at what she does. And there's like these rappers I'm working with. This guy named Farnoosh Weapon X. That's his name. He's 40, but he's been rhyming for a long time,
Is
more
that
than I.
the one that you had a music video with where you guys doing backgammon? That's Weapon X or no?
Yes, next.
Yeah, it
He's
is.
like like he's nasty, and he's also been like he serves as like a mentor figure to me, like an older brother I never had.
Nice.
So I'm very grateful for Farnoosh. She's actually like one of my best friends, and I'm very excited to work with him when I'm in LA. And not just him. There's this guy named Basic, who, oh my god, like his music isn't even out, but like if I showed you, you'd be like, holy shit. So I'm really excited about like building a Persian collective, and
Do you know Locksmith?
yes, I do.
Okay, because
I,
you know he's
I,
half Persian. He's half Persian, sorry.
yeah, yeah, I never like interacted with him personally, but I know of him. I'm a big fan of his music. I think what he does is like he has skill.
No, he does. He's got. I mean, I'm not. I'm not a connoisseur of rap, but like, I really respect his talents. Like, it's insane, you know. And like, he was our guest on the Noru's live stream as well. So I'm very new. I'm very new to him, but he's got a cool story as well. So I just wanted to make sure you guys connect, you know.
One day,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So tell me. I mean, you're making a big move now. You know, going from the east to the west. So you're leaving Biggie and going to Tupac now. So like, what is it like? How are you feeling about that move? Like, what's on your bucket list for the next 12 months? Like this big move comes
Yeah,
with a lot of goals. You know, what are you trying to
yeah.
accomplish? How can we support that?
Sure, man. So look, like a few months back in May, I flew to Los Angeles to film Atoosa. And when I went there and I saw all the Persians there, it was a different experience walking and listening to, just like you're walking and then you hear someone in the corner speak Farsi with someone else. And you're like, like what the hell? Like that's so cool. Like I never experienced that in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Um, so the reason why I'm going there is because my brand is so Persian. It makes sense for me to be one with the people there, because at the end of the day, I represent the Iranian diaspora community. That's how I think of it. And after I filmed the Tusa, which was just done so beautifully, in my opinion, when I landed in Connecticut, when I came back, in one way, I was inspired to like further improve my lyricism and artistry. On the other hand, I was really unmotivated to like make any more things in Connecticut, because I'm like, yo, where am I going to get a Persian videographer, cinematographer, a Persian guy who engineers my stuff, like a Persian guy who understands my vision for my art. That does
Yeah.
not in Connecticut. I have to be in LA to build that team. My goal is to just I have so many songs I've written and recorded that I haven't released yet because I want to make sure they're marketed correctly. I want to make sure they're released properly with a beautiful video. I want to continue working with Shayan, and I know he's got his hands full, so we're going to talk about that. But like, there's other Iranian videographers as well that I'd really want to just like start working with. And you asked how you can support. I mean, one thing you can always do is just listen to the music, stream it, whatever platform you use to listen, share it with your other Iranian friends. I always ask people like, post on your stories, engage on my content because algorithms, unfortunately, and I hate talking about this but like, these algorithms make it more and more difficult for artists these days. They're become far more restrictive. So I always ask people if you like the stuff, please like engage, like comment your thoughts, hit the like, hit the save button, share it on your stories, share it privately with your friends. Like these things really do make a big difference. And
For sure.
yeah, that's like, so things like that I'd really appreciate.
Let me ask you something. Have you seen a female version of you yet?
I have come across female Iranian rappers who spit in English. There's this one girl, she's in Vegas. Her name is Paria Bad. There's this other girl like who has more of a name to her. Not that Paria Bad doesn't have a name. But Paria Bad is a very talented MC, very talented poet. But there's this other girl named Rana Royce. I think she's like from the Bay Area,
Hmm.
and like her whole like Instagram bio is like like the illest Persian bitch alive or something like that, right? And
Well, at least it's very clear what she is.
yeah, and like wearing a chain with like this, like with like a Mercedes Benz logo, and I'm like, yo, if there's anything that's Persian about you, it's that chain, right? But her content, her music isn't specifically about being like Iranian. It's just something
Yeah.
she talks about maybe every now and then. But I haven't really seen another Persian female artist who does this whole specific like Persian brand thing that I do. Um, yeah.
Because I really like the inclusion of, and I just forgot her name, the other girl in Atoosa, the one that was doing the chorus and stuff. What was her name?
Arla.
Arla. Yeah. I mean, like I feel like, and I like how there's even like a curse word in there too. Like these are things that these are things. I mean, it's so weird to say I like the curse word, but like the point is that she's being an artist and she's like passionately talking about the lyrics of that song, and like I want to see so much more of that. I want to be. I'm hoping that what you're doing is gonna encourage not just other Iranian guys, but also Iranian females to
Fuck
kind
yeah.
of express themselves creatively. Yesterday, my guest was Dr. Nushin Valizadeh, and she's a poet as well, So she does activism through poetry, and then like literally in 5 days, she prepared a 5 minute poem about her experiences with like survivor essentially. She's a survivor, and so like in 5 days she memorized it and she just killed it on stage in front of 20,000 people, and like I was like, that's incredible that we have these female lyricists as well, and I want to see more of it essentially. That's yeah.
Part of my mission, again, like when I go there, eventually, it's like I would love to build a collective of like it's like I call them like my immortal warriors almost like like the mortal soldiers of Persia, right? Like where we're like like a Persian artists, rappers, singers, not just different art forms, and we come together under this one umbrella like collective. And yeah, I want women on my team, absolutely,
Yeah.
because like Persian women, like we need that. They need to be reminded like, yo, like it's cool to be who you are, and being a Persian woman is pretty badass. Like that's why like in my sometimes in my cover arts, like I'll just put a picture of like a drawn out Persian woman there because it's like, like why would you not want to look like this? You know what I mean? Like, why would you want to like look like Allison when you could look like Yossi? Like I just I don't know. I'm pretty nationalistic in my approach, but I just think it's necessary because it just helps balance things out in my view.
I'm very curious. What's your parents? Because I see you show a lot of love to your parents. In the last video that you put up, you got old school picture or video of them as well. What's been your parents' like response this career?
I mean, initially they hated it, right? Because when you're a Persian parent, you have three career options: doctor, lawyer, engineer, or failure, right? That's the path. And it was a struggle for many years. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, it was brutal. It did affect my mental health because it's like, oh, like my بچه میترا دکتر میشه، بچه نهاله داره وکیل میشه، پسر من باید یک رپر باشه, right? So, and I had
Yeah,
to deal with that like a lot. And I know like they mean the best, right? Like they mean the best. Like they're afraid they're afraid if I fail, right? And I mean, obviously, as a parent, like I get that, but it's like, mom, instead of like you being afraid, what if you just encourage me so I have that confidence? So when things do go sideways, which they will, because that's life, I'll have the confidence to overcome it. And over time, like um as I did this more and I actually got better at rapping, and especially honestly, Iman, I remember that Noru special. After I did that with you, I feel like that kind of changed everything because they were watching it on the other room. Like while that was live, they were in the living room watching that,
that's
and
great.
yeah, they realized like, yo, this guy Iman. Like, I mean, he's a pretty big guy. Like people know him in the Iranian community. He's about to do an interview with Sam Begi and Reza Pahlavi. Okay, like my son does has a path in this. They've been a lot more supportive since then.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so
I'm
you had
I'm
a big role in that, man. Shout out to
I'm happy to hear that. No, I mean, but like you just said, like it's understandable when they have these concerns because, like you said earlier, like they had survivor mentality when they're coming over here, and here they are. They go through all this fire and fury to come over here, and you just want to have your kids to go through a safer route. So it really comes from a good place, but unfortunately, you and I and many people we know how it can negatively impact as well. And so I think that one way to combat that is just through the kind of communication that you had. Like I love the way that you explained it. Hey, mom, instead of like being against me, why don't you encourage me? Just that simple conversation. I feel like I'm sure you have to do multiple of those conversations, but
yeah. It
that
wasn't like
that I think does help.
yeah, no, it's difficult, man. And I think Iranians. I grew up in Connecticut, as you know, so a lot of people say Persian guys are very cocky guys and we're full of confidence or doo tala mentality. But I actually experienced that because I was an East Coast Persian, so I didn't grow up with a lot of other Persians. So if in a way, I always felt like I was lesser because of my Iranianness, and it's weird to talk about, but it's like, for example, like my dad would bring me to school, and then like if I introduced him to my friends, this was like when I was a kid, I'd be embarrassed because he has that accent going on, and so it's like, okay, dad, you didn't talk anymore, it's fine. I mean, thinking to myself, so, but I don't think Persians in LA they have that issue. I think it's more like because they're so overpopulated with Persians, it's like they know they're
Right.
the shit.
Yeah.
Um,
They're the majority over there.
yeah,
No, I feel you. But I mean, listen, the things that you rap about, I have no doubt that it's really hitting a good nerve on a lot of people, especially I'm sure you have a lot of guys, even if they don't message you, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, appreciating you speaking on their behalf, because that's kind of what you are doing. Like you're speaking about the challenges that you went through, which is not unique to you. It's literally unique to an entire immigrant culture, or society. So it's fantastic, man. I mean, I hope that whenever you kind of get, you have some doubt about what you're doing, I hope you realize that you should just keep on going and keep on grinding, and the right people will continue to support you along the way, man.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I need to hear it because, you have like these social media algorithms, and sometimes like the hate and the criticism like you get from these regimes, like they could take a toll sometimes. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like if you're already having a day that's not ideal, and then like you open up your Instagram, is like a weird message from someone saying like, "Yo, I hope you die," like
Hmm. Yeah,
like. But sometimes like but the way I like to think of it also is like, yo, there's a yin and yang to life. So if there are people out there who hate you this much, there are also people out there who love you like in the opposite way. So it's like they really, really love what you do and they want you to keep going. So
yeah.
if you have people who hate you that much, you're doing a good thing.
I mean, I think that it's a natural part of putting yourself out there. There's no way you're gonna have no. Actually, I wouldn't want everybody to be patting my back and telling me I'm great all the time. I'd like to kind of hear the opposite side. I had this one. I think she's an older lady. She runs one of these super Irani pages, like 40, 50,000 followers, a lot of like Pahlavi stuff, a lot of like pro monarchy, which is fine. I mean, and she like messaged me on something, and she said that you say you're Iranian, but you don't mention anything about what's going on in Isfahan, the drought of the shortage of water and stuff. And I had actually shared something in my IG story, but yes, did I make a full-fledged video and spend an hour on it? No. Doesn't mean I don't care? No. But like
Right.
when she said, how do you even have your name? How do you carry an Iranian name when you don't care? And I was like, who are you to be sitting behind your Instagram page and just judging other people about what level of Irani there is? But so I kind of went back and forth, and I was like, what am I doing? I was like, why do I don't have to express or explain to myself, to anybody, like my level of Persian. I felt like I had to like explain myself, but I was like, screw it. The point is that you have to kind of just let these things go off your shoulder and not let it impact you.
That's like the weird thing with being Iranian. I feel like it affects our community in a very unique way. Where it's like if I say one thing that someone else might disagree with, oh, you're not Iranian.
Yeah.
If I don't post something on this specific time
Yeah.
about something going on, oh, you're not Iranian. Like
Yeah.
this is like we joke about it, but this is harmful because this is the type of shit that discourages people from even talking about it. You know?
True. Yeah, I mean, I flat out kind of told her, I was like, why are you wasting valuable time and writing other people these type of messages? Like if it's important for you to talk about Islam, then you talk about Islam, but don't be messaging random people and trying to tell them that they're not Persian enough just because they're not talking about your hot topic of the day, But yeah, man, I mean, anyways, I just want to say that I genuinely appreciate your hustle and grind. I mean, you're really going against the grain with this thing. I know it because I'm in that same community, and I know how difficult it is to build a massive following and get the support that you want. But I hope that your move to LA is going to be something that is fruitful for you, that it opens up more doors for you, and that you continue to put out some really great videos, and more important, that you continue to put out great messages, And so
Always.
kudos to you. Before I let you go, I always like to give guests a virtual stage to share any kind of message that you want to give to fellow Iranians, whatever it is, from life experiences, just whatever you like to share. It's all yours.
Okay, man. Thank you. Well, first off, thanks for having me on this. And like I said this before, I think me and you see eye to eye on so many different things, and what your mission of unite and conquer, of building that community and stuff. I would love to, I think I can see myself working closely with you in the future. So if you're ever out in LA, let's do something. Maybe we can do something.
Definitely.
I would love to collaborate with you in some capacity. Maybe we can throw an event, whatever, right? I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
Messages. I mean, look, I feel like with I wish I knew you were gonna ask that. I would have prepared more, but I was gonna say,
Take your time.
I would say this, man. It's like I've been pursuing, like, so I mean, I've been doing music for so long, and I would say it was really during this last 2 years where I've been sort of zeroing in on the Iranian market and not giving a fuck about what's on the outside of that for now. And something I've learned on that path is that we really, unfortunately, like right now, I feel like we are kind of divided, right? Like I'll be saying something and immediately like, I loved your music, but I'm gonna unfollow you because you said this one thing. Oh, how come you're always talking about the regime, but you never say anything about American imperialism, which I do, by the way. But, um, uh, and so I feel like, you're not even Iranian anymore. Like, that same thing that you just talked about. I feel like, and something I've really reflected on is like, look, let's embrace the fact that unless you're a regime supporter, we all have different opinions, but let's just like come together and like understand that we all want the best for our community. We all, like I know some Iranians who like Trump, which to me is kind of, I can't fathom that, but there are some people who do. So I used to be part of the problem, right? Where I said, you know what, like you're a Persian Uncle Tom. Fuck you, do you hate your people? But now I kind of have like a different approach to it where I'm like, okay, you know what? The reason why you like Trump is because you want the regime gone. I understand that. I don't like the regime either. There's common ground, right? So I'm kind of tired of the divisiveness. Let's come together. Let's have conversations. Let's have these uncomfortable talks so we can figure out what's best. Let's build that community. Let's go to these mehmonis together. Let's sip on some chai together, man. Like, let's just hang out together. We don't do that. Like, and we were so divided. And I was just actually right before I went on live with you, I was talking to a girl on the phone, and she, sometimes I don't like hanging out with my Persian girls because they're so two-faced and stuff, and like that's a problem. And like I want to end that. I mean, I know me as one man, I can't do that. No one person can do that. So I feel like let's just start with ourselves. Look within, see if there's anything like me, see if there's anything I'm doing wrong. I think we all have some self-reflection to do, and find a way to show love. You know what I mean? I'll be going to Stop and Shop in Connecticut. One time I heard someone speak Farsi. One time. It was like in the aisle next to me. I went up there. Like I went out of my way to do that because like we have to show like, yo, we have, like, you're not alone, brother. Like I live on that street. Like if you need me, like call me, right? Like I feel like we need to do that. Instead of like, if you're a girl, instead of putting hundreds of dollars behind a Gucci bag, there's so many Persian fashion designers, dude, who are trying to sell their own shit. Like, put it towards that, Like, why spend money on European businesses when we can help our own? Like, I don't know.
That's great. That's actually a good comment, because that's really one of the things that I want to do to these podcasts and these IG lives, is because I want to shed a spotlight on our people, and not to make it be like we're any better than others, but like, why shouldn't we? Why aren't there more people that are promoting other great entrepreneurs, artists, creators, And so I think we're going the right direction, man. You're doing it lyrically. We're doing it through IG lives like this. And, we have to continue to have these conversations, and the right people will follow, man. The right community will be built. But we have to work together, unite and conquer.
We have to, and it's in the word unite. Like, let's, more collaborations with people who don't even do the same thing that you do. Find a way to make it work, because the more people you can get behind something, people are just more excited to be a part of it. Like, I've learned this. So, yeah.
Definitely, man. Well, I'm for sure going to keep you in mind for, we're going to, in my DNA, it's events, So obviously because of the pandemic, we weren't able to do that many, but once things open up and we are able to do events, I definitely look forward to having you a part of them in person, so we get to meet in person as well. And I would be honored to have you perform on one of our stages, and I think it would be a great experience for everybody.
I feel honored to perform, man. Thank you so much.
Cool, man. Well, listen, you be good. Take care of yourself, and can't wait to see what you cook up over on the West Coast.
Thank you, brother. You have a good night, all right?
Take care, man. Say to the family. Ciao. Especially your mom. Salam verso. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Shayan for being here today. It was fun. It was great. And I hope that wherever you are, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. For those of you who don't know, I have a company called Exclusive Entertainment, and there was a promotion that I've been talking about that I'm offering all this month, is that if you hire Exclusive Entertainment for your wedding, so like DJ services, we're offering wedding live stream services included in the package. I think it's sad when a special guest of a bride and groom can't be there in person, and so we're able to give them a front row seat to their bride and groom's wedding. So if you didn't know, my entertainment company is specializing in weddings, and would love to have the honor of capturing your wedding day and providing the entertainment as well. So enjoy the rest of your day. Much love. And tomorrow, my guest is going to be Aida Khamesi. She is a licensed marriage family therapist. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things having to do with families and mental health and a lot of other good stuff. So join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, 10 a.m. on the West Coast. And take care, be well. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the Unite and Conquer YouTube channel, link in my bio. Much love. Take care, guys.